All right, class.
Yes.
Wow, you guys are just like on it. I feel it. I feel love here. Why the class was like so dead. Yeah, and that was it. Okay.
Too much global warming.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's because they're getting accused of cheating. That's why.
Oh man. Oh, hey, listen. Hey, don't listen to Chismosa. Seriously. She's going around telling like every single teacher and every single other student. I think she put it on everyone's Snapchat too. Anyway, all right.
Snitch her up.
Literally.
Okay.
Put her on blast.
All right.
Tell you.
Trig, polar, and complex. Super easy. You ready? Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have walked in late. So we have, this is what I talked about on Monday. Real is your x-axis. That's the left and right. Your imaginary is up and down. That's your y-axis. And to write something in this form, it's going to be a plus bi, where a is my real direction, left and right. My b is my y direction, up and down. That is my imaginary. So this is actually writing it in rectangular form. Okay? It's rectangular form here. So we're going to go through and add these together. We've done this in 8.1. So add the reals together. So if I'm adding the reals together, what is 4 plus 1?
5.
Very good. Now, right here, plus I, there's a positive I and a positive 3i. So how many i's do I have?
4.
4i. So it goes plus 4i. So what we've done there is we added them together and we'll still end up at this point of 5 plus 4i, because positive I is going up. Negative I would be going down. There we go. Is that super easy? Yeah, that's it. That's it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, we're done? Circle it.
Bruh! Bruh!
Yeah, go ahead.
Circle it.
Wait, hold on.
Bruh.
Bruh! Alright, let's pretend like we're paying attention here. So, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to do this, and it says to graph. And I'm going to show you this cool method of graphing. It's called tip to tail. So, first thing we're going to do, let's add them together. We're going to add them together. So, let's start by adding the reals. I have positive 6 and negative 4. What? Positive 2. So, I have a positive 2 in the real direction. Now, I have a negative 2i and a negative 3i. So, when I combine that, I get negative 5i. So I say negative 5i, but is actually minus 5i. So it's the same thing, but we're just adding those pieces together. So we're adding two negatives there. Now, to do my graph, there you go. So we're going to start this off, and I'm going to start it with my first one. I'm going to start with that first one. So from the origin, which we're always starting right here, it says 6. Which way does that go? To the right. So it goes to the right 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6. And then it says minus 2i. So where do I do there? Down 2 now. So 1, 2. So that dot is my first vector. That vector right there. Now, this is called tip to tail. So the tip of my first vector is going to be the start of my second vector. So I'm going to start, since my second vector is negative 4, in the real direction. So where do I go with that negative 4? Left, how many?
4.
Very good, left 4. So from here, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it says minus 3i. So where do I do with that? Down 3. So let's do that. So 1, 2, 3. So this is where I end up at. And so the tip of my first vector, is the tail of my second vector. That's why I said it's tip to tail. And where do I end up at here? my end result by doing this, by graphing it, is going to be 2, and it went down 5 in the I direction.
Okay. I need the second one. How did you get the second one?
Which way do I go?
For negative?
I go, it says minus -4, right?
Right, so it's gonna be left, right?
Left how many?
4.
So I went left 4, so it'll put me here.
Oh, from there, okay.
Okay, so now that's doing tip to tail. So I'm actually putting both these together at the same time. So I'm doing the addition as I'm doing this. Does that make sense? Okay, so my end result is going to be there. So I could say my vector could be from start to finish is there. Is that pretty easy? So this is basically with the two vectors, it's like, hey, I want you to go over here to Lux, and once you get to Lux, I want you to go to Douche Bros. Okay? You start over here at Lux, and then you went to Douche Bros. So there your vector would be, you went that way first, right? So from where I'm standing, for the people on YouTube, I went west. I went west, and I went to Lux, right? And then from there, I needed to go to Douche Bros, which is way east, right? So after I'm done doing that, so I went to Lux, then I went to Douche Bros, but then my end result is, I could have just went from here to Douche Bros, right? It would have been a shorter trip to go from here to Douche Bros. And that's what my blue line is right here. That is what my blue line is. It's going straight to Douche Bros. All right, make sense? Question, concern, complaint? All right, so let's keep going. So we've already done these ones. We did this ones the other day. So my x value, my x direction is r cosine theta. My y direction is going to be r sine theta. R is my radius. It's the radius, right? Okay, so it's a radius. That's what we're trying to say. So it's a radius, and then theta. How would I get theta? If I'm looking for the angle, gotta do the inverse, right? So let's change up my formula here. Inverse tangent. There we go. And the second part says x cannot be 0. Why can't I have 0 down here? It is undefined. It is still an angle, but it's undefined. We can't do it here, but we can calculate it. We can calculate it, though.
It's just misunderstood, right?
Yeah, it's misunderstood. All right, we ready? Nope. Okay, so r cosine, r parentheses cosine theta plus I sine theta is trigonomic form, or also referred to as polar form. Okay, that's super important because that's your calculator mode that you're going to look for. Okay, of the complex number, these are complex number, x plus yi, expression cosine plus I sine theta is sometimes the CIS, cosine I sine theta. That's the abbreviation instead of writing out all of this. Or I normally just put it like that. Okay? Yes?
Yes.
Good. Converting it. So what I'm going to do here, this is polar form right now. This is polar. So I'm going to distribute this to turn it into rectangular. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So it's 2 parentheses. What is the cosine at 300 degrees? So think about your unit circle. 300 degrees is in what quadrant?
4.
Very good. It's in quadrant 4. So what is the cosine? What is the x value at 300? Quadrant 4, x's are positive.
Wait, what did you
What,
have?
Say that again?
What did you say?
Cosine 300.
Cosine cosine 300?
Negative one half.
Very good. Positive 1/2. Very good.
And I don't even have any discussion.
Positive 1/2, right?
Come on, guys.
Remember, cosine is my x value, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Cosine is the x value, sine is my y value.
I just ate that up, Mr. Punch.
Mm-hmm. Now, the next one is going to be plus I. Now, what is sine at 300? What's your y value at 300?
Negative rad.
Negative
3
rad.
over 2.
Very good. Negative rad 3 over 2. Because quadrant 4 is down below, right? The y values are negative. And what do you think I should do with that 2 now? Yep, let's do that. Let's distribute it. So what is 2 times 1/2?
1.
Yep, because if I get 2 halves of a pizza, I get 1 whole pizza, right?
Yep.
1, and then as I distribute over here, what am I going to get?
2i.
There you get, But look, it's multiplying by all this here, right?
So 2I at 3.
It's going to be negative rad 3, right? Because the 2's will cancel. I'm multiplying by 2, and I'm also dividing by 2 right here. So those will cancel, and I'm left with negative rad 3, right? But there's still that I in front. So am I going to keep the plus sign? Say no.
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 No, I'm not going to keep the plus sign. I'm going to change it to a minus sign now.
Why are you gonna do that?
Because it says say plus, but is my answer negative rad 3?
Oh, it is.
So it becomes minus, regular, minus I rad 3. Put the I front.
So you don't need that too. Because it canceled out.
Yep, that 2's canceled because when I distribute that, that canceled out. Questions? Is that pretty easy still now?
Yeah. I feel like you do the easiest problems.
No, I do I usually do some of the hard ones here. Okay, I'm gonna do the hardest one possible next.
Beautiful.
Caution.
Do the hardest.
Wait,
do
circle it.
Do all the hardest ones on the homework. I would have known what was the one.
All right, blah 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 blah. Okay, blah 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 blah
Could I have known?
blah. There we go. All right, this one right here. We're gonna turn this from rectangular to what mode? Polar or trigonomic, right?
Isn't it trigonometric?
Trigonometric, yes. But it's also referred to as polar because that's what's on your calculator. So you want to keep reminding yourself that it is in polar.
Come on now, Ian.
I know, right? Some people. So let's go through. We're going to have 2 different things. We're going to have 2 different things here. So one, we have to find the angle. The other one, we have to assign the R because this isn't what's only given to me. You'll ignore the fact that it is accidentally over here on my graph. Okay, so ignore that. We're just going to do this. So let's start by finding my angle. So to do the angle, I have to do the
Inverse.
very good. So that means that's going to be theta equals inverse tangent of, what's my y value? 1. It is. Don't put the I. Don't put the I because in my formula it says y over x, right?
Right.
Not the I. Don't put the I there because that will mess you up. So this is going to be 1 over negative rad 3. And put that in your handy dandy. And what mode do I want to use right now? Oh, use degrees and we'll convert to radian later. Yeah, it's going to make life easier if you have it in degrees.
Do you have to put it in modes right now?
What mode?
Polar?
Nope.
Trigonomic?
Nope. Don't change it yet.
Oh.
30.
So it should be in degrees, negative 30. So I have that theta is equal to negative 30 degrees. But according to my x and y, it's not in the right spot, is it? So I know 30 or negative 30. Where's negative 30 supposed to be at? What quadrant's negative 30 in? It is in 4th. So it's going to look like this. It's negative 30, isn't it? That's negative 30. But because the x and y direction that they gave us, my answer has to be in what quadrant? It has to be in quadrant 2, isn't it? So it has to be in quadrant 2. How can I get from here all the way to over here? Add how much? Very good. Because it's in the wrong coordinate. It's in the wrong, not coordinate, it's in the wrong quadrant. Sorry. It's in the wrong quadrant. So we're adding 180 to try and get it to the right quadrant where it's supposed to be. Because I already know where it's supposed to be. That's the reason why we graph this first. And so what do we get as a degree? I get 150 degrees. And what is 150 degrees in radian? Is it on your unit circle? And if it's not on your unit circle, you would multiply by pi over 180. Very good. We get 5 pi over. You guys agree?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It is 5 pi over 6. So this wants its answer in radians. So 5. Now the next thing we have to do, we got the theta. We need the r. So I'm going to find r here. So I know that r is equal to, ignore that. No, there we go. R is equal to the square root of, what was my formula?
Oh,
Nope. Is it like that? Yeah, to find the r, right? That's finding the radius. We've done the radius so often. It's always x squared plus y squared, right? And am I going to plug in my I? No, don't put the I. Don't put the I with this. Because I just tells you that is in that direction. Does that make sense or nonsense? Okay. So my x, so it's going to be r is equal to the square root of x, which is parentheses, negative rad 3, close square plus 1 squared. You notice I'm putting it in parentheses there. What happens when I square a square root? Cancels. What happens when I square that negative?
Positive.
Because positive, right? So this r is equal to the square root of 3, right? And what is 1 squared? 1. So it's going to give me r is the square root of 4, which is r is now 2. So now we're just going to write this in the polar form. We're going to write this in the polar form. So it's going to say 2 parentheses cosine at 5 pi over 6 close plus I sine 5 pi over 6 close right there. That is polar. Now the abbreviated way of saying it, and I'm pretty sure you guys are going to like this because you guys probably hate writing as much as I do. So you're going to write 2 CIS 5 pi over 6. Is that a lot easier to write it like that? You just have to know that that's going to be cosine I sine. So it means the same thing. Either way, but you're going to see it both ways, so you're going to have to know what it is. And I'm going to do this next one here, 3b, and then I'm going to pause it and let you guys work on it, work on some of this, and then we'll do the last examples. There we go. Okay. So the problem with this one here is this, I have negative 3i. What direction is that? Up and down. What is my left and right? It's going to be 0 because there is no left and right. there is no real direction, so that number, as a placeholder, you need to add that. So left and right, it's going 0. So you're going to add that to this. 0 minus 3i. 0 minus 3i. That's where you're going to get that from. So that's going to be helpful for all the rest that we're going to do. Now, if I try and do my angle, it's going to be theta equals inverse tangent of -3 over 0. Didn't I say a minute ago we can't really do that? I'll give you guys a second to catch up. Now, this one, I can't have -3 over 0 because that's undefined. But I could do the directions, can I? From my origin, right here, it doesn't move left and right at all. It only goes straight down. So can I do this one? I can't do that in the calculator. That's going to give me undefined. But when I look at it and I graph it, which is going to help me out, oh, that's straight down. And straight down on my unit circle is 270 degrees. It would do the same thing if you were straight up. If your answer was going straight up, what would that be if it was going straight up?
90.
Very good, 90 degrees. Those are the only two places where it doesn't work. And that's why we want to show it to you to make sure that you see, like I said, this is the hardest one right here. Because you asked for the hardest part. What do we still have to do now? We got theta. What we got to find? What is the pirate's favorite letter? No, the C. See what I did there? The C. Like SEA, but C. Because I got you guys all saying R, but it's not R, it's the C.
Okay, what if we all would have said the C? Then what would you have said?
Everyone said R, because I keep saying R over and over again, and I knew everyone's going to say R, knowing that it has to be the C. Anyway, so we're going to solve for R right now. So R equals the square root of, what is my X direction? 0. Plus -3 squared, right?
Just to say it was R.
What?
You did all that just to say it was R.
It was R.
Thought it was the C.
No, that's a pirate's favorite letter. The C. But I get you guys all to say R at the same time because you think it's R.
It is
Say
R.
again.
Huh?
It is R.
We are solving for R.
No, but the pirate's favorite word is R.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
The C.
No, it's not.
No. That, yeah. It's not. All right, so you guys ready to do this? So when I square that negative, that becomes positive. This is going to be 9, right? Yes. Square root of 9 is?
3.
So let's write in the form 3CIS of 270 degrees because it said use degrees.
What is this used for?
What do you think it's used for? Pirates use it all the time. This is actually, there is all kinds of sciences and engineering that it is all in polar coordinates. Because when we start doing I really wish that we could do real graphing of it because it gives you vectors and directional and location. So let's say, for instance, you are, doing some launching of stuff. So Elon Musk says, hey, yeah, we need to do this. Guess what? It's in polar coordinates. So you're going to launch a rocket. You want to land it right there on that itty-bitty little landing platform.
Is that what they were doing in Hidden Figures? Have you seen that movie?
In what?
Hidden Figures?
I don't know. What is that?
Hidden Figures, you guys?
Yeah, wait.
What was
You're
that?
talking about Black Lives Matter, but you haven't seen it.
Tell me the movie.
When they were dealing with the black women, they went to go work.
Oh,
for
that's a good
NASA.
movie too. Okay. Anyway, yeah. that's like super smart because I could actually do the math. So I was like, oh yeah, look at that. That's good. I know that one. See that epsilon delta right there? I got that. Okay, anyway. But yes, they were actually doing that. And they're number crunchers for landing it where?
Space jump.
They were actually launching it, right? And they were landing it?
Russia.
Okay, there we go. Anyway, I'm going to pause it here. Then we're going to finish in a little bit after you guys do some of these problems. So, go forth and practice write me out.
I don't hate your wife.
How dare you?
Who is you?
How dare you?
She's lucky.
A wife reveal.
Huh? What's up?
For real.
Oh, we're done with this?
She's been here.
Yeah, we
She's
were
walked in a
surprised.
couple times.
Wait, what?
You liar.
Never
No,
when
she
we're
is
in here.
not.
You
Yeah.
haven't introduced me?
Oh.
She went to the chess tournament. Like all this time. How did you not meet her that much?
Because I wasn't
You
introduced.
didn't meet her, bro.
I wasn't introduced.
Oh my God, what a weirdo.
What do you think?
Anyway, all right, let's map this.
Yes. How would I know she's Sparta's wife if she doesn't say she's Sparta's wife?
You can choose
That's just
to
been lying to us forever.
I know.
He's just trying to make sure
My name
Fox
is
is actually
Sparta's wife.
married.
All right, here we go. So I'm going to show you guys how to do this. I have to reload this up. Now, this is what you guys are going to do. Right now, write down these steps. Write down these steps right here. To put this in the calculator, I have to wait for this load. Put this in the calculator, you start by hitting home. So, write down the steps. You're going to hit home. You're going to hit settings. And you're going to change where it says rectangular and polar. See, it says real, complex. That right there, you're going to change that, and we're going to go rectangular or polar.
What? Start over
What's
again?
the step?
Home settings, what after?
Settings.
It's
Document settings. Home 5.2.
It's the same thing. I'm like,
Okay.
And?
It needs to be real or complex.
So, right here.
Oh, documents.
Polar?
Polar.
So this first one here, the notes actually say we want it in, this one is complex number, alternative form using this. So this is CIS. So this is polar, so that means I want it in
Polar.
rectangular.
Are you kidding?
No,
So I'm
we just changed it. So I want my answer to be in rectangular, don't I? So I just told my calculator I want my answer in rectangular. So that means I'm going to plug this in. The form that's going to go in my calculator is going to be polar, isn't it? So my radius was what? Say 6. 6, parentheses, cosine. What was my angle?
115.
115 degrees. Close. Plus I. Make sure you find the correct I.
With I.
Hit the pi. It's either the pi or the book.
Oh, I see that little thing.
There's pi or the book. And then the next one's going to be sine.
Then 115 again.
Degrees.
Plus.
And then
Damn it.
plus
Negative 255. 54.
Yeah, negative 2.54.
plus 5.
5.44. 5.44 I. So negative 2.54.
So would the I go in front?
Nope.
Or the back? Okay.
Because this is going to be A plus B I. Because the B in this case is going to be positive 5.44.
Okay.
And the I goes at the end. Is that pretty easy there?
Yeah.
Super easy, right?
Exciting.
All right. Anyone else questions before I move on to the next one? And the next one says,
Circle A.
so this next one here, what form is that?
That's polar.
Huh?
Polar form.
That one's rectangular.
Oh, that's right. Oh, it sure is.
That one is rectangular.
Oh, cause the eye?
Yeah,
Yep.
because the other polar says sine and cosine. Rectangular does not. So we're gonna do this one now. So since I'm giving it to you in rectangular, my calculator is gonna change to. Thank you. Let's do that. So I'm gonna hit home, settings, document settings, and change it to polar. So you're gonna have to know how to switch this back and forth and what is it asking for. Rectangular. Yeah, we're not changing this because this is. Yeah, you don't want to do those.
What units is the district test mostly on?
It changes.
So it's on all of the units?
Yeah,
you
it's
did?
from unit 5 on.
What mostly
It's
is
second
it?
semester. It's all of it. It's everything is 10 questions. I'm pretty sure. So, now in this form, please pay attention. In this form, what was my A value here? It's on your notes, right? Was it 5 minus 4i? So
It's 5.
5 minus 4i.
And then I got angle thing, negative 38.
Okay, so what's the radius in this case?
6.4.
Okay, 6.40. And my angle is going to be what?
Negative 38.7 degrees.
6.
Like,
So, watch this.
coefficient.
Watch.
I
The
mean, not
R,
coefficient, 6 means.
what do we say R was? And my theta, negative 38 point, like that, right? Say yes. Okay, so if you notice on your notes, it actually has another number. It has a 300 degrees, right? I don't mind negative angles. We know negative angles are just angles that go backwards. It just goes backwards. That's the only thing different. What if I wanted to find out what this one was supposed to be in a positive? Add how much?
180.
360. This one's 360 because it's coterminal. I want to find out what the positive angle is on this. It's in the right spot, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
This is in the right spot. This is in quadrant 4. A negative 38 degrees is also 0.66. It's still in that quadrant 4, right? So that's in the right spot. So now I'm going to put this together in cosine I sine. So it's going to be 6.40 parentheses cosine of negative 38.66 degrees plus I sine of negative 38.66 degrees. Or I could rewrite that as CIS.
Yep.
So it's going to be 6.40 CIS cosine I sine negative 38.66 degrees. So both of those would be correct. If you want to abbreviate it for the cosine I sine, it's good. All right. Questions, concerns, complaints? All right. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. Buy my new merch from my merch store.
Let's go.
Palmetto album.